Welcome back to the Ashburn Ice House as the gold medal is on the line in Division I ice hockey as the Moscow Police take on the Calgary Fire. Hey, hockey fans, I'm Jeremy Huber again, joined by Flip Collins. And Flip, not much else has to be said. This one for the gold medal.
No, both these teams are ready to go. As we've seen all week, this is the fifth day of competition. If you've got anything left in the tank, you're gonna let it go right in this game, this next 45 minutes.
And obviously exciting for both these squads and their fan bases, the ones in attendance, as they look to go ahead and take home the gold medal. Let's go ahead and start things off with our keys to the game for the Moscow Police.
Yeah, you're looking for Moscow to have a good start. They've had a couple of games where they had a very slow start, getting outshot by several teams and having to pour it on late to win the games. They want to control the pace. They're a fast skating team, a good skating team. They want to get into open ice and skate with a puck. And the Russian delegation that's here in attendance, they bring flags, noisemakers. They're very boisterous, and their players feed off of that.
Of course, some of the guys looking to feed off that will be one of our players to watch, number 13, Pavel Chumakov.
What a skilled player this guy is. He can what they call dangle with the puck. He likes to hang on to it. He likes to try to make some moves around players, and then he'll dish it at the last second to one of his teammates.
Chumakov, with 4 games, leads the team along with this man, number 29, Vladislav Evsey.
Evsey is one of my favorite players on the team. You'll watch him. They'll run the power play through him. He'll be down in the corner on the power play. They'll feed him the puck, and then when he releases the puck, he's like a jackrabbit. Next thing you know, he's in front of the net causing havoc and looking for rebounds.
Evsey with experience in the KHL, Chumakov, Russian juniors, to the Calgary Fire and their keys to the game.
Yeah, again, we're going to go. We've had this team several times. One of the favorites, I predicted favorites to win the tournament early in the tournament, and their work ethic is second to none. They forecheck with a vengeance, and they back check with purpose. This is an older veteran team. This is a savvy team. They don't make too many mistakes. They made a few mistakes in the first game against this team, but they're not going to make those mistakes again. And what I call back end, this team plays, their success comes from the back end out. They got solid goaltending, great goaltending, and solid defensive core with over 250 NHL games back there in the blue line.
And we'll focus on our players to watch on that back end. One of the defensemen, number 74, Mike Can.
Mike Can has a cannon. We saw in a previous game he scored 2 goals from the blue line. On the power play, you'll watch the pucks come up to him. He'll walk across the blue line, and he'll let it rip. And if you don't, you better have equipment on or get out of the way.
Interestingly, from his defenseman spot, he's leading the team in goals in the tournament with 3. The other guy to watch, the guy who's been the guy to watch all tournament long, the goalkeeper, number 30, Todd Ford.
Yeah, we picked this up early in the tournament, how well this goaltender is, and his resume speaks for as well. He's played in the Toronto Marlies organization and actually played for the Hershey Bears for 13 games before he retired and joined the Calgary Police Department.
And of course, Todd Ford doing it, getting it done here for this Calgary Fire team throughout the tournament. Moscow Police, how we got there, of course, their first game of the tournament, a loss to this Calgary team in a shootout. They've been on fire ever since. 9-3 win over at Montreal, knocking out Toronto PD. That score wrong on the screen. They ended up winning by, I believe, 5-3 count. And then Moscow over Tatarstan in an upset against the Countrymen.
Yeah, and you'll hear me talk about this. It's in these tournaments, it's difficult to beat a team twice, so we'll see how Calgary does. But Moscow's had a great tournament. They were one of the early favorites, and they've gotten to the championship game.
And going to take a look at the highlights from that opening game between these two teams. Of course, that one thrown to the back of the net by Matt Schultz early in the game, and then also a counter by Dennis Zeman. That'd be the only scoring we would have during regulation.
Yeah, and then we went to a shootout, and there were some just crazy moves here, as you'll see in the highlights.
And you see, with shootout went 5 rounds, as really the goaltender's not doing too much. Obviously, in a shootout, it's going to be tough, but you did see some good plays. You did see some saves like that one made by Todd Ford.
And this is just a great goal. Oh, wrong one I had here.
There were some good goals. There were a couple of misfires as well, and eventually we would get to the point where we would find the back of the net, and we would finish things off. And this, again, another score here.
This is the goal right here.
And eventually that would go top shelf by, of course, Chris Herpinger, one of the captains on this team. And then this would be the game-saving one by Spearin that would go ahead and give Calgary the shootout victory. And of course, if that were to happen this time around, it would not be a straight shootout. They go to a 15-minute overtime period instead. You see Calgary, how they got here. The 2-1 win over Moscow, and the shootout ended up being big as they got the first seed out of the pool, avoided Tatterstan, which Moscow ended up knocking off. Calgary then beat Toronto PD, beat Montreal in a tougher than expected game, and then with a pretty good performance yesterday against Quebec.
Yeah, I talked to Coach Dan Olsen before the game, and a couple of the changes that they're going to make. One is they took 7 penalties against the Moscow team. You can't give this team the power play, so look for that. And I've been talking about all tournament long. Calgary, if they get the lead, look out. They're tough to beat. They play a stifling defensive zone. They have stifling defensive zone coverage, and they play a little bit of a hybrid trap. They're going to want to take the middle of the ice away from this Russian team.
Taking a look at the standings, of course, these two teams played in Pool B in the preliminaries. Calgary Fire going undefeated. Moscow Police, they went 2-1. Fire, the only team yet to lose a game here at the Division I Ice Hockey Tournament at the World Police and Fire Games, though Moscow would love to go ahead and hang that first loss on them.
Yeah, I'm going to go back. It's a great storyline here is it's tough to beat a team twice. And what's Calgary going to do? What adjustments have they made? What adjustments has the Moscow Police Department made? Because they've got to make a few adjustments if they're going to beat this Calgary team.
Almost ready for a hockey here in Ashburn. Again, we saw in our bronze medal game, that one also was a rematch won by the team that won the first one as Tatterstan knocked off Quebec in that contest 5-3, an empty netter giving the 2-goal advantage. You see the goals per game. These two teams a little bit closer than our first game where we saw Quebec was a team that kind of held the other teams down while Tatterstan was a team that scored a good bit. Moscow 4.25 per game, Calgary 3.5 goals per game, and that kind of shows pretty much in how these two teams play their games.
Yeah, and defense is what wins championships as far as I'm concerned, and I think Calgary's got a little better defense here. They do have the better defense. Just going to see, how's the start for Calgary. We've noticed they've had some very poor starts, except for the last game where they jumped out to an early lead and were able to close out the game.
There you see some of the fans, the combined fans, I would think, from both Moscow and Tatterstan rooting for each other. Then you also see some Canadian flags in there as well. See one down on the board. So we're going to have a mix. And this, I think, by far, Flip, is the most packed we've seen the stands here at the Ashburn Ice House. Everybody sitting down and folks standing as well. Hopefully not standing in front of us.
Yeah, there's definitely, I see some Norway supporters here. I see supporters from other countries that have come. This is the marquee game of the tournament. Fans are still filing into the Ashburn Ice House. You can see fans now single file along the boards behind the net. That's the first sign that the crowd is filling up here.
And again, later today they'll play the Division II semifinals. That will be played tomorrow. We'll also bring you those here on WPFG.TV. Those will involve teams from the Fire Department of New York, also teams from Calgary, the Police Department out there, Vancouver as well. So a lot of folks, I'm sure, around for those games, maybe getting here a little bit early to root their respective teams on.
Yeah, that Calgary Police Department actually scrimmaged the Calgary Fire Department twice in exhibition games before the tournament, and they split. So as we talked about in the previous telecast, that there's some Division II teams that are surely can compete at the Division I level. Most
definitely. Uniforms, you'll see them on your screen. Calgary looking like the hometown Calgary Flames with red jerseys and black pants. The Moscow team kind of look like the Washington Capitals just a little bit with the white jerseys and the blue pants, the road jerseys for the Caps. And we are underway. The gold medal is on the line between Moscow PD and Calgary Fire.
There's definitely some electricity in the building. You can sense it with the fans, and now we're going to see it with the players.
Korotkov looking for the centering pass. That one's going to go wide of Ford. He played back around the boards. Behind the net. Again, looking to see how these two teams start this one off. Not a lot of scoring in their first matchup. Shot towards Ford. Again, knocked aside by Avsev.
So you'll watch Moscow. They'll like what you want to do on Ford is you want to shoot some pucks low, keep him in his pads so that you force him to make a save that creates a rebound. Anything up around his blockers or gloves, he's going to save. He's going to gobble up, and he's going to get a whistle. See Dmitry
Korotkov leaving the ice. One of the players on this Moscow team with KHL experience. Late addition coming onto the ice now. I believe that was Vyacheslav Snegrev, and this shot will be towards net. Will be blocked down in front. Shot again forward, way out of his net. A couple of shots by Anshikov.
One of the things you'll see the Moscow team do is they like to hold on to the puck and then like to open a player at what we call the back door for an empty net. I talked to Colt Olsen about that, and Calgary team is really going to try to identify those situations and make sure they have a defenseman on the back door with the Moscow player.
Spearing with that shot at the net. Not really much to it. Kind of pretty easy save there for Ford.
Ford has a knack of making these things look real easy. To other goalies, it would be challenging.
Puck played along by Calgary. Chervoff will go ahead and chase it down and get the hybrid icing, of course. Basically here in this competition, icing's the race to the dots. You win to the dot, you're going to go ahead and get the icing, and basically trying that for safety reasons, correct?
Yeah, for safety reasons. And I like that they do that. We've seen some races to the puck already in this tournament where someone could probably have gotten injured.
Early on here in a jam-packed Ashburn Ice House, gold medal on the line, World Police and Fire Games Division I Ice Hockey Tournament, Calgary and Moscow. Ford will play it behind his net, leave it off to Endicott. Tried to get it out of the zone, couldn't do it. Now eventually will be flipped out across the red line and back into the defensive zone for Moscow. Look to break it out. Endicott will go ahead and chase that one down. Thought about funneling along, ends up just giving it off to a teammate. Moscow looking for something to open up. Again, of course, they got here with the upset win over their countrymen from Tatarstan. Shot on goal off Ford's glove, and eventually he will cover that one up with a little bit of help from Endicott. Just kind of shoveled it in with his stick.
Moscow's controlling the puck here in the first 2 minutes of the game, and the shots are 5-0 in favor of Moscow.
And you'll see that under this Moscow team. I made the comparison, sometimes like a hive of bees just start buzzing around.
They'll let them, Calgary will let them buzz as long as they don't sting.
That'll be sticked aside by Ford in net. Which I believe coming off from Korotkov. And turnover. Turlin leading it into the zone. He'll throw it into the corner. Batted up and have to be played back by Zeman. Dumped in. Ford again going to play it, but Turlin trying to provide some pressure. Going to try and get it out of the zone. Can't do it. Korotkov keeps it in. Now eventually will be backhanded out by Scholar.
A little bit of a flat start for the Calgary team, but I kind of expected it since this has been their MO for the first 3 of the 4 games.
Kahn played back, gets it back. Across the zone looking for their first scoring chance. Lyskevich wins the race to the dot, and that'll bring the face-off back down to the other end.
So when Calgary ices the puck here, they're looking to make a line change, and since they iced it, they're not, as a defensive team, you're not allowed to make the line change. That could become a factor as I anticipate Moscow will outshoot Calgary.
Shumakov and Olsen with that face-off. Actually one over in the corner by Enshikov, getting peppered by Schultz. Spearin will send it down around the goal. Doesn't get all the way there. Eventually cut off and will end up off the stick of Evseev and all the way down. Moscow looking to break out. Vasilyev gets back into the play. Spearin looking for the centering pass. That one will be sticked aside by Olsen. Tries to backhand it out to a teammate. Nothing there. Rowett will play it back now. Eventually played off the boards and back. Now chance here. Rowett 2-on-1. Looking for the opening. Can't be put home as the chance for Pozo, and up to the task was Pasechnik, the goalie.
Great saucer pass by Calgary, tape to tape, and then a wonderful save by the goalie.
And you've said it before, Flip, this Calgary team specializes in rockabye baby. They just kind of lull you to sleep and then take advantage. Almost did it there.
Yeah, a little bit like basketball with a fast break.
And we'll have a stoppage here. And this will be brought back out. Here's the play.
So Calgary player turns to his forehand side, and then he saucers the puck across the sprawled out defensive for Moscow for a little redirection shot on net.
Face off, played back by Calgary. But they had a chance here. Chervov coming up with an aggressive play to keep Margatak from getting a momentum going. Cross ice pass thrown back in by Senkow. Zeman plays it behind his net. Won't be able to go ahead and connect, and Endicott will get it. And Stroshine will send it all the way back down to his own end.
On that last breakout attempt by Moscow, they had a cherry picker at the far blue line. Watching this Calgary team, I don't recommend that. Big turnover here.
Yeah, going to be a one-on-one to Turlin. Can he beat Ford? He can't. Ford able to stop him with the glove.
Oh, my. What a great save by 40.
Cabana passes it back. Scholar got to stick on it for a second. Down in the corner, Herpinger. A lot of movement behind the net by Calgary, trying to make some hay back there. Played along. Can thought about the shot for a second, throws it in front, bounced off a few people, didn't get near the goaltender.
Pay attention to the Calgary defense. They're highly intelligent. They have a high hockey IQ, and almost all their pucks get through to the net, which is very important as a defenseman.
Brotkov dished it back. FC couldn't go ahead and keep control of it, and there'll be a chance for Calgary to go ahead and change it up. Vasilyev will dump it in on Ford. Can't find the puck. It ends up right underneath his pad, and eventually one of his defensemen comes over, points it out, and he covers it up.
Got turnover here. Ford gave really nothing for him at first, and then the Russian player, who actually participated in the shootout. So he pulls to his backhand side, and Ford does textbook, keeps the glove up, and was able to make the save.
And it appears there Ford waited a long time before showing his cards.
Whoever blinks loses.
Time centering pass will go wide, and Calgary will look for the long pass, instead doing a good job getting in front. Vasilyev to cut that off, and we'll have an offsides.
This is eerily the same as the first game, where Moscow kind of all over Calgary at times, and then Calgary picks and chooses their chances. And when you'll notice when Calgary has a chance, it's going to be a real high quality shot.
8-1 shots on goal so far. Best chance of the game, obviously, going to Moscow, and the one-on-one against the goalie for Turlin, who couldn't go ahead and put it away after the great stop by Ford. Puck sent in. Rowett chasing after it, can't get to it. And Moscow will try and get it out of the zone. Long pass, again broken up by Ferentz. Should be Thiessen with the breakup.
Those long stretch passes don't work too well with this defensive core for Calgary.
Thiessen will get it out. A little bit of help off the stick of a teammate. Believe that was Olsen. Kind of bounced that one through into the bench area.
Now see, that one came out of the defensive zone and went out into the bench, which is not a penalty. If it were to go out over the glass from the defensive zone, that would be a 2-minute minor penalty for delay of game.
Brotkov and Stroshine taking that face off. Calgary wins it, but it'll be sent all the way down for an icing, and that'll bring it right back down to the Calgary end.
You'll see this isn't going to be a reoccurring theme by Calgary. They know, what their strengths and weaknesses are, and if they're not going to run around, they're not going to run around in the defensive zone. So they're just going to try a stretch pass. If it's an icing, it's an icing, and they try to win the draw the next time, which they do.
Endicott will flip it high. Gatton can't play it at first. Stroshine goes after it, almost got to it first, but turns out Possessionik has to just cover it up, and that'll bring the face-off down to the Moscow end.
Yeah, referee Kurt Peterson from Ashburn is going to give a warning to the Calgary player there for spraying the goalie with his skates. So next time that happens, that will be a penalty.
Stroshine maybe sending a little bit of a message. Of course, Stroshine, one of those guys with a lot of size on this team, played 3 games in the NHL for the Capitals. Extensive minor league experience as well, and here you see the spray coming from the veteran. Official goes down, puck played around behind the net, and this will get out. Be bounced back in off a skate. Moscow again trying for the long pass. Herpinger breaks that one up with his stick. Eventually played in, back behind the net, giving chase Cabana. Couldn't get to it. Now maybe an opportunity here for Moscow as Korotkov will bring it across the blue line. Passes over. Again, pass back. Looking to go to Eastsev and just can't connect with him.
There's that fourth pass I was talking about.
Chance in front. Puck is loose. Eventually sticked aside by the defenseman. Never really got through to Ford. Turlin looking for the slap shot off a boot. That's going to hit Ford in the pads. And eventually he goes down to the ice to force the face-off.
For the World Cup games, Division I, they use a 4-referee system with 2 referees and 2 linesmen. I just mentioned Kurt Peterson, but they have Justin Bakers, the other official from Pittsburgh, Colin Gates from Fairfax, and Bill Lyons is the other linesman from Richmond, Virginia.
Here's that slap shot, goes off the boot there from Korotkov, and then Turlin, just a little bit of a throw towards the net. We've seen Ford a few times just throwing it at him. He's kind of lost track of the puck, so not a bad idea, I guess.
He knows where it is. He also plays a little rockabye baby with the other team, shows them openings and then closes those gaps quickly.
Well, Moscow looking for one of those gaps as they remain scoreless here. Shots in Moscow's advantage, 10-2. Vasilyev plays that one away. Stick lost by Shumakov, and Ford will go ahead and pass this one, maybe trying to start a break for his team. Rowett tried to chase it down. Instead, Vasilyev takes it away, and he'll clear the zone. Anshikov into the corner, bodied up by Thiessen, trying to get the puck loose. Anshikov will play it back. Losing control of the puck, and a goal! Moscow breaks the ice as Dmitry Spirin, his second goal of the tournament, and he puts Moscow up 1-0.
There's that backdoor goal I was just talking about earlier in the telecast. The player from Moscow skated behind the net, and a fellow line mate was hiding came out of the corner and stayed on the back door, and it was an easy one-timer in an open net as Ford came across.
Good play by Moscow. Nice pass as well. The feed coming from Anshikov, and Spirin able to put it home. And that's going to do nothing to quiet down the Russian fans in attendance. We played back in. Just above 6 minutes to go, and we'll have a stoppage in play. Brought back out to the neutral zone for a face-off.
So the Calgary team actually hires a coach. Is not part of the fire department, and Coach Dan Olson is the head coach of a college in Alberta, Southern Alberta Institute of Technology.
Spirin with the goal. Anshikov again with the assist, giving Moscow that 1-0 lead. Of course, the last time these two teams played in the first game of pool play, it was Calgary who scored first. Moscow had to respond with the goal that tied things up and eventually sent it into the shootout.
Calgary's trying to take away the center of the ice in both the neutral zone and defensive zone, and they're just going to let Moscow play on their perimeter if that's what they want to do.
No penalties as of yet. Very clean game played so far. FC with one off the pads of Ford. In the corner, back around, back of the net. They'll shovel it out. Now maybe a chance here for Calgary. Loose at center ice and eventually tracked down by Gatton. Under 5 minutes to play in the first period. Moscow with a 1-0 lead. Cabana, little turnover here. Can he do anything with it? He'll push it forward. Scholar going to try and chase it in the corner. Played along by a Moscow defenseman. He takes it over the line. Turlin may use the screen. Now Gatton behind the net, trying to find something in front. Puck loose, eventually turned over. Can is going to whip it around the boards. Won't get out of the zone, though.
A lot of patience with the puck possession being shown by Moscow here.
That's behind. Turlin back out, slap shot. It'll be caught off the stick of Korotkov. Ford able to glove it, and that will give us a draw in the Calgary end.
So as that puck's in the corner, Olsen's focusing on the puck, and he's getting a quick little peek to see out who's in the shooting lanes, and he's able to focus and make that save pretty easy.
And you see again working behind the net. Here comes Korotkov, loads it up, but Ford sees it easy.
You could see in that replay that you could see Ford look out and pick up the shooter before he shot the puck.
13-2 advantage on shots for Moscow. And Pasechnik will go ahead and cover this one up. It'll bring a draw in the Moscow end.
I mean, if I was coaching the Calgary team here, I wouldn't. I'd like to have more shots, but I'm not really overly concerned what the shots are, because the Calgary team's been outshot twice and they haven't lost a game yet.
Can throws it in wide of the net. Bozo, Rowett going to try and get it in the corner. He's going to be shoved aside by the bigger Lyaskevich. He'll send it back in. Rowett tries to make a move on Lyaskevich. Chance here, score! Calgary on the board as Brad Olsen, the captain, finishes it off.
Great skill here. You see some highly skilled moves to create separation and an opening to make that pass, and then a backhander just tucked under the crossbar.
Carson Rowett set that one up with some fancy stick work to get something open. And then, you said it before, this Calgary team loves to go to the net, and Olsen rewarded here.
Yeah, just slides it across, gets it in the backhand. The goalie goes down, and he goes up. He goes top shelf.
So the captain stepping up with his team down by a goal, and we're all even up here at the Ashburn Ice House in the gold medal game. Moscow 1, Calgary Fire 1. Now Pasechnik thought about covering up for a second, let it go, then got a little bit scared and decided he had to get on that puck.
Calgary loves making teams pay for their mistakes, and they're going to capitalize on that opportunity. They only have quickly a couple shots there, but 6 shots with 3 minutes to go in the period. But that's fine. It's a 1-1 game. At the end of the day, it's what's the final score. We're not going to worry about the shots.
Fair to say this Calgary team's a good counterpuncher.
They are very good counterpuncher.
That one will be sent down off the stick of Margatak, played by the goaltender Pasechnik. Stroshine going to try and get to it, though doesn't get to it in time. Still kept in the zone. Again, Calgary showing a little bit of extra effort here, trying to put it on when they've got Moscow a little bit on the ropes. Now, Kudryashov had a chance at that one. Couldn't be played. Now he will get to it. Going to try and take advantage of the line change. Instead, going to be pushed down the ice, and now Moscow will bat it back down the other end.
On that previous forecheck there by Stroshine, he went hard because he was sending a little bit of a message saying, hey, I'm going to be here all game long.
Cabana going to try and send one at the net. Instead goes off a stick up into the netting.
There's a lucky souvenir for an Ashburn resident.
Again, you take a look around, you'll see basically every corner of the rink except for the far right, you're going to see fans there, and I think now more fans knowing they can get over there, they're getting their views from that side.
Yeah, I would say by the start of the second period, it might be 2 deep around the glass, and that's a big crowd here in Ashburn.
Being treated some pretty good hockey. Herpinger throws one on net wide, though. They'll fight for it behind the net. Pitch forward. Eventually Moscow has it. Now they'll have a chance at 3-on-2 here. Korotkov passes off. Evsey throws it back. That one can't connect. Cabana will get it out of the zone. Getting harassed by Moscow, and he'll just go ahead and throw it into the defensive end. Evsey gets it taken away after getting it across the blue line. Loose puck, shot, score! Moscow back out on top.
Yeah, a little lull in the play right there, and a free puck comes out to a Moscow player and slides it across, and a one-timer past Todd Ford.
I believe that'll be Vasilyev with the goal. wide open, and it will be Vasilyev, his third goal of the tournament, and Moscow back out on top.
That one kind of fooled Todd Ford as he slid across. He thought it was going to go high, and the puck came down low just over his pads, below his glove.
So already a different game than we saw the first time. Just 2 goals apiece in that first game. Now already 3 just in the first period.
I didn't think that Calgary could keep it to just a one or 2 goal game, but they have the firepower to come back as well.
We've seen it before. They've been able to, besides that first game, really able to put some goals on the board. Better ahead by Shumakov. Ford played it for a second, then Thiessen sticked it all the way out. Looking back again, Moscow coming up under a minute to go here as this shot is on Ford. Easy one, just plays it aside, lets his defenseman take it. Now Lindsay into the offensive zone. He pushed off the puck, tries to play it forward. Can't do it. Again, loose. Canales giving chase. Peturlin will get it for Moscow, and he'll look to break it out. Sends it up. Anshikov leaves it back for Peturlin. Back to Anshikov. They can't connect. Stroshine has it. He'll play it up. Lindsay just dumps it in with the backhand. 10 seconds left to go in the period. One last chance for Moscow if they want to take it. Gatton will dish it off. They're content just to play around the neutral zone. Eventually, Korotkov sends it down, and that will send us to the first intermission as Moscow now holds a 2-1 lead on Calgary. A little bit of back and forth here, Flip, and been a very good hockey game so far.
Yeah, it's been an excellent game. Both teams, again, traditionally as we see in these medal round games, is they're going to feel each other out a little bit and see if anyone's making any changes. It looks like Moscow's made a few changes on their breakouts, trying to do some stretch passing, and Calgary's countering with that and stepping up into those areas.
And again, we've seen some very good offensive plays by both teams so far. I'm sure we'll see some more. And again, I guess if you're Calgary, are you content with the pace so far?
Yeah, they're content. Coach Olsen probably wants to get a few more pucks on net, some high quality shots. But again, they're gonna lull the other team to sleep a little bit, and then when they get that opportunity, they're gonna pounce on it and most likely try to score.
Of course, short intermission between the first and second period. The long intermission coming between the second and third intermission. So again, just some quick changes, I guess, for both teams as this one-goal game, 2-1 so far, as it's it is Moscow with the 2-1 lead. I guess if you're in the huddles, what do you say in your teams right now?
Coach Olsen's probably trying to get a little more intensity out of his team. They've been lulling back a little bit, so they want to try to apply a forecheck, get the pucks out of the zone, show a little bit more grit. So I think you're going to see a little more physical play in the second period by the Calgary team.
Let's take a quick look at some highlights from the first period. Already with 3 goals on the board, Moscow able to get on the board first as they would end up finding Dmitry Spirin, who would send that one home on Todd Ford to start things off.
Yeah, that was a backdoor. One of the things we talked about. Here's a great play with slide the puck over and a backhand under the crossbar.
Rowett connecting with Olsen on that one to even things up, but then Moscow would respond with about 90 seconds left. You see it right there, the big slap shot by Vasilyev, his 3rd goal of the tournament, and that makes it 2-1, Moscow up on Calgary.
That goal late in the first period, that gives the Calgary team something to motivate them, saying, hey, we're down a goal now. We got to come back. We got to get the next goal.
And we'll see if they can do it quick. Contact at the blue line, knocks Herpinger off the puck. Chance here, throwing it forward, off the stick of Evseev. Now back around, and keep it in the zone. Looking for a backhand, but Turlin and Ford's going to go ahead and cover that one up. Was looking to go ahead and get it to Evseev.
Great focus by Ford there. It was a puck that was redirected by his own player, trying to not let the puck be passed across the crease in front of him.
So just underway here in the second period, as they'll knock this one back down behind the net, and Schultz will look to play it around, eventually out of the zone, but Moscow again on it. Shot discrepancy big right now for Moscow, 17-6 for Calgary. But again, just a 1-goal difference. Chance here as Lindsay looking for the breakout, but got taken off the puck by Vasilyev. Now Spearin looks to center it. That one, I believe, goes off the post, but Ford was so tight to it, nothing really could happen.
Yeah, he's not going to make those let those slip by. He's going to hug that post, and once he feels the puck, he's going to put a glove on it.
It's the replay here. Spearin sends that one in. Actually, may have got the stick of Ford. Either way, didn't end up in the net, and still a 1-goal lead. Now chance here. Canales can't get to it. Good job by Zeman to beat him to the puck. Looked like he may have a chance.
So Calgary's running a set play. It's the second or third time that they've won the draw, and they're just going to flip the puck out into the neutral zone and try to have a player race up and catch it. And that's actually how they scored their first goal.
Whistle blown here. I think this is going to go on Calgary.
It's going to go 5. I think it's going to be on both teams. We've got a retaliation.
Stroshine and Zeman into the box. So
two big boys there.
Right there in front.
I think it happened down in the corner actually before that.
So we'll stay at 5-on-5. With guys into the box. The face-off will come in the Moscow end. Actually, now we're going to send another man off.
They are going to have a 2-minute penalty. So it's going to be a 5-on-4.
Voznikov will go in, number 80. And you can see on the bench the Russian coach is kind of just giving the old hand wave. I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't want to hear it.
Calgary penalty to number 22, Eric Soshin, 2 minutes for roughing. Moscow penalties to number 2, Dennis Simon, 2 minutes for roughing. And to number 80, Vladimir Poznikov, 2 minutes for high sticking.
So Poznikov will take up the high sticking penalty, while the other 2 penalties be for roughing. Shot in front off the pads of Pesechnik, stays in. Calgary, 90 seconds left on the power play. Slap shot that'll go off a body in front of Peterlin.
Calgary is one of the teams on the power play does like to get the puck to their blue line.
Ferentz will glove it and keep it in the zone. Scholar, turnover here.
Bad turnover there.
Thought about the shorthanded chance as Peterlin was moving along. Instead, now Herpinger will go find it, give it back to a teammate. Instead, Moscow going to come up with it. Instead of trying to break out, they just send it down and eat more time and get the line change. About 50 seconds to go in the power play for Calgary, our first of the game. Sent back, again, sent all the way down, and Ford will come out and play this one. They'll hand it off to Thiessen as they'll go ahead and make another run at this with about 35 seconds left on the power play.
I'd like to see him get one real good, solid scoring opportunity. We quite haven't seen that on this power play yet.
Flipped along. Olsen in the corner. The captain has the lone goal for Calgary. Pass behind the net. Thought about going to it. Thiessen going to take the slap shot. That's going to bounce off to the right of the goal. 10 seconds left on the power play, and that should go ahead and take it all off as Thiessen will go get it. And that will do it. All the skaters back on. And we're back at even strength.
Nice stretch pass there by Calgary. They almost created a breakaway opportunity.
Endicott will play it up the boards. Can't connect. They'll get it back now. Thiessen getting harassed by Kudashov. Battle of the small guys there. Canales and Vasilyev win the fight to the puck and ends up in Moscow's stick. A little end-to-end action right now. Cabana trying to take it down the left boards. Goes towards net, ends up running into the goalkeeper. They won't blow it dead, though. I believe said he was pushed.
Calgary's showing a little more intensity here, trying to create some stretch passes to get those opportunities where they can shoot the puck.
Ferentz on back. He's going to misplay this one, but Turlin thought about the shot. He's going to dish it off at Ford, and the rebound sticked away. Good job there by Ferentz to get that one out of harm's way.
Uncharacteristic turnover by the former first-round draft pick of the Florida Panthers.
And Ferentz with plenty of playing experience. We will have a whistle. Here's that play earlier, seeing driving the net, and then a little knee to the head of Pasechnik, lost his stick. Luckily, didn't get a head injury from that. I know in my football playing days, my lone concussion on the field was actually from a knee to the back of the head, so that is not a good place to be.
These are hockey players. Maybe a little tougher than football players.
A knee's a knee no matter what helmet you're wearing. Of course, we saw Pasechnik, at least 2 of the games we've seen him kind of have some collisions with other team skaters where his helmets come off. And kind of check out all the marbles there, but he's still playing very well for this Moscow team.
I think one of the reasons you're seeing that is he likes to come off the post a little bit, and teams are willing the teams that are willing to go down into the crease with the puck are scoring some goals.
Endicott has it taken away. Moving along, Shumakov. Thought about leaving one for Anshikov. That one gets loose. Now a penalty.
Calgary's going to go on a power play.
There's the shot, goes wide. Spearin's going to chase it down, and that will bring the whistle. But again, it'll be a Calgary man advantage here. Going to call Anshikov for the body check.
We haven't really seen many body check calls. We've seen what we thought would be called a body check, but at the end of the day, they're calling it an interference or a roughing.
And remember, Anshikov got called for one of those, I believe in preliminary play, and at the time kind of said, hey, man, that's a regular hit. It's a regular hit, not a body check. Anshikov, one of the bigger guys out here, I think as you said before, kind of looks like a big shooting guard or a small forward from a basketball team.
Yeah, definitely.
Chan walked the blue line for a second and dished it off. Let's see if they get it back to him. Of course, had a goal yesterday from the blue line on a blast. That's back around. Endicott will take one. Fought for the puck in front, and eventually Pasechnik will go ahead and cover it up. And again, some pushing and shoving behind. Really our first of the game to see kind of getting some rough stuff like that.
Yeah, you're gonna start seeing a little more of that as this game gets a little longer and the score stays the same. You'll notice on the man down by Moscow, their forwards are playing out at the point because they recognize that the strengths of this power play are out at the point. So that's going to create opportunities down low. So let's see if Calgary can get the puck down low and work something.
See some of the rough stuff down there. Karatkov, Gatton getting in it for Moscow. Also Olsen, the captain for Calgary. Losing an edge there, and Moscow will be able to take this one out if they want to just dump it in. Kudashov maybe thinking a little more offensively. Maybe trying for a shorthanded goal here. Minute 20 left on the power play. Shot, Ford will catch it on the other side with the left-handed catching glove.
Calgary will let these players from Moscow just wheel around if they're not in a scoring lane or a scoring situation. Doesn't really concern them.
Again, more fans filing in here to the Ashburn Ice House. Division II semifinals later today. This the gold medal game in Division I. Moscow looking to keep the gold medal in Russian hands for another year after 2 straight wins by Tatarstan. Moscow looking for the gold medal. Chance here for Calgary. Pass off. That one, a goal! Paul Cabana off the feed, and he puts it home. And now we're all tied up after the power play goal by Calgary.
Yeah, very unselfish play there by Calgary. Could have gone in and maybe get a shot itself, but slides it across to Cabana, and Cabana doesn't make a mistake and deposits that one into the netting.
Catch it on the replay here. Again, that is the veteran Herpinger, and almost like in basketball, the point guard that flips it over his shoulder for the dunk. That's about as good as you're going to get for Calgary. Of course, Herpinger, 9-year run in Germany, also played for 4 different NHL teams. So he's one of the guys on this squad that could help them bring home a gold medal.
One of those savvy players I talk about.
And there's going to be a penalty, and a pretty easy one, as Korotkov came in and just got tripped.
Yeah, that's an easy call for the referee. Not much you can do about that. He's trying to make a hockey play, and the stick gets in the way, and the guy steps on it and falls down.
Senkow, 2 minutes for the trip. Pretty easy right there. So now Moscow on the power play as they look to take the lead back. A little issues at the dot. They'll keep them both in. Now a little bit of hold. Korotkov holding the stick of Olsen. He's officially going to call hooking on that, I believe I heard the PA announcer say. Back to Baturlin. Moscow content, plenty of time left in the penalty. Content just bring it around. Baturlin throws that one's going to go off the stick of Ferentz. Baturlin gets it back. Dish it back up top. Gatton. Baturlin takes the slap shot off the stick of Ferentz, goes wide of the net.
Moscow's just working the puck down low and trying to stuff it in front.
And taking their time, down to 1:10 left to go on the penalty. Baturlin, slap shot. That one doesn't draw net.
That's what I'd rather see Moscow doing, taking shots. They need to take shots.
Clearing attempt missed by Canales, and he'll keep it down at this end. Gatton back at the point, back to Baturlin. Fighting in front, trying to get it. That time will be sticked away, not out of the zone though.
Moscow, if they're going to try to go backdoor, they're going to have to beat several players because Calgary's keying on that.
Baturlin thought about the slapper. Again, he'll dish this one off. Korotkov thought better of the stuff attempt. I think you're thinking they're taking a little too much time, correct?
Yeah, taking too much time. Just shoot the puck. They've got the snipers. They got the firepower. Shoot it.
Gatton back over to Baturlin. Cross ice. That'll go off of Ford. Almost up in the netting. Stays there. Ford, cat-like reflexes.
That is an unbelievable save right there. Blocker save.
Gatton back to Baturlin. Just 10 seconds left on the power play. Korotkov tries to go top shelf. Can't get there. 5 seconds left. May get one last shot with the man advantage. Out of the box. Backhand attempt, and Ford will make the save on Evseev at the doorstep.
So here we go. We're going to show the backdoor play here. So Ford knows that guy's there because they've been doing that all tournament long. So he knows that he just got to get into that space. If he can get over there quick enough, there's a good chance he's going to make the save. And he does. He's a pretty big goalie too, so he takes up a lot of the net. You got to be quick and get that shot off. Actually, they really needed to shoot it to far post, but your natural instinct is to go to near post, and he was able to get there, but he would have overshot he would have overrun the shot if the Moscow Police Department went to the far post.
Ford again stepping up, one of our players to watch, really leading the way, and you said back end was going to be important, and it has been so far, as Ford has been up to the challenge, keeping his team in 2-2, 23 shots to Moscow, just 12 for Calgary. But as you said, the only thing that really matters is the score, and now maybe a chance for Calgary to add another one. Herpinger's shot going to go off Pasechnik up into the netting.
Goalie got that with his butt end of his stick. Yeah, we're going to just throw out. We'll be talking about the shot totals, but at the end of the day, Calgary could care less what the shot totals are going to be. You know, if the shot totals, if they were to only get one more shot and that's a goal, and they were win the game, that's all that matters.
It's back down by Moscow, looking to take the lead back. Coming up on 5.5 minutes to go here in the second period. Shumakov taking off the puck by Thiessen. He'll go ahead and dish it all the way down.
So we're seeing also a lot of the other teams are here watching this game from other divisions. So there's several other divisions that don't play at this rink that are in attendance at this big tilt.
And obviously those guys can appreciate good hockey, and you're not going to see much better than this. Chance here by Chumakov trying to make something happen. He'll backhand it down into the corner. Calgary trying to get it out of the zone. They will. Now chance here for Lindsay. Gets a little bit of space, throws one on net, rebound, and a collision at the goal. This will go in, and they'll say it's a goal. Crazy play there, and Calgary has taken the lead.
Calgary throws the puck on net, knowing that the goalie's he's just going to make the save. He's really not going to collect the rebound, and there's going to be a rebound there.
So we'll see it here. Lindsay threw one on net, and then charging to the net, that was Margatek, and then coming up, I believe that was Herpiger with the backhand to put it in the empty net. And I'm assuming no goalie interference here because he was pushed into.
There were actually, referee's arm was up. They were going to call a penalty on Moscow. Strochan with the goal.
Oh, could be Strochan.
Time to go 10-16 to the second period. That's at 10-16.
Now Moscow going to look to counter and get this thing tied back up. Pass off, chance here, open net, can't connect, and then Ford jumps on top of it, then some bodies start flying.
There's that extra pass that just drives me crazy that the Russian teams all like to do. He's in alone for taking a shot. Take the shot. The Calgary team is smart. They know they're gonna do that. So as soon as Moscow has the puck, players are manning up. You watch this replay here. Shoot the puck. Instead, he lets to pass it, and that player's covered.
Maybe being a little too fine so far in this contest. Face-off will be in the Calgary end.
And the other thing is they might know that how well the goaltending is on the Calgary side, so the way to beat a good goalie is move the puck east to west instead of north-south.
Passed along, D7 and Ferentz into the corner. Chance here for Moscow, looking for the centering pass. Played along in the corner, but Turlin leaves it off. And going to have a penalty here on Calgary on the slash.
Yeah, one thing with these composite sticks, when they get a little nick in them and then an opposing player slashes that stick, they're very easy to break, which makes it's an easy call for a referee when you see a slash and then the stick breaks.
Justin Scholar going to go to the bench, go to the box, I should say. 2 minutes on the slash. So we'll see if Moscow, with just under 4 minutes remaining, can take advantage of this and at least be tied up as they head into the long intermission. There it is, Strochan, great shot there coming in at that wide open yawning net and able to put it home. FC gets his stick hit as he was going for a shot. He'll play it back out to the blue line. Gatton gets it on stick. Coming up on 90 seconds to go on the power play.
Moscow just moving the puck around the perimeter.
But Turlin got to Gatton. Slap shot blocked in front by Canales. Cross ice pass. Again, Moscow being deliberate. But Turlin, that one's going to go off the pads of Ford. Played around, keeping it in the zone. Minute 10 left to go in the penalty.
They need to start shooting the puck.
Turlin tries to play it down to Korotkov.
Moscow's a couple too many passes, and then the scoring opportunities aren't there.
Gatton off the pads, second chance. Ford again with the stop.
Big save by Todd Ford there. Stretched out leg pad. Moscow player needed to elevate the puck and wasn't able to.
Evseed had the chance there. Instead, again, of save by Ford. This time he denies Anshikov. Back out to Baturlin. 30 seconds left on the penalty. Peterlin back up to the point. Gets it back. Now Anshikov tries across the goal mouth, doesn't hit anything.
Calgary really needs a whistler to get this puck out of the zone. Being the second period, the longer line change, even if this penalty's over, they're probably going to control the puck because Calgary players are so tired.
Play back to Peterlin. 5 seconds left on the penalty. Peterlin takes the slap shot. Going to be bounced off in front. And now Scholar races into the play. Luckily for Moscow, one of the guys coming on, able to get into it, keeping it from being a rush for Calgary. Thiessen plays it ahead. Herpinger. And a goal! A crazy angle for Chris Herpinger gives Calgary a 2-goal lead.
Just shoot it. As a wise old man told me one time, just shoot the puck on net and stranger things will happen. So from a wild, crazy angle, left-handed shot from the corner beats the goalie who was just too deep in his net.
Chris Herpinger only 1 goal so far in the tournament, but this will be his second. And again, not a great angle, but it gets the ping, and it's a good ping as it hits twice.
Wow, it actually went inside. You know, I had mentioned about 10 minutes ago in this game where the goalie, some teams were picking up that he doesn't quite, he comes off the post at times, and there was a little angle there that was open, and he just ripped a slap shot from the goal line and beat the goalie on the near side.
90 seconds to go, even strength. Moscow would love a goal here to get back into this one before the intermission. Cabana will go ahead and dump it in. And Calgary kind of turning up the heat right now on Moscow.
Yep, and they've got their third man high right here, so Calgary's just a little turnover.
Chance here. Can't play it in. Puck is loose, eventually covered up by Pasechnik, and we'll get a face-off in the Moscow end.
So with exactly a minute to go in the period, this is where Calgary really wants to go in with a 2-goal lead, and Moscow wants to try to get at least 1 goal back.
You see in front of you, Calgary, kind of a quest for them. A bronze in 09, a silver in 2011. A lot of guys remaining from those two teams. They want to go ahead and get gold this year, and they've got a good chance at it now. This one thrown on net, easy catch by Pasechnik. Thought about putting it down for a defenseman instead. Will cover up again, or will hold it and get the face-off.
Yeah, if he has that puck in his glove for more than a second or two, the referee's going to call it. But he just gave him a little, said since there's no one on him, next time he's going to want him to play that puck.
Just over 50 seconds left to go here in the second period. It's Calgary holding a 2-goal lead. Puck sent in by Thiessen. Chased down by Pozo. Played around the net.
This is some of that defensive, offensive stuff that I talk about. Where Calgary's got their third man really high up at the blue line, not allowing Moscow to have a clean breakout at this point.
Try to play it into the zone. Negrev. Position in front. Ford able to hold tight to that post. No room at all. Under 20 seconds to go. Kudashov gets it in the neutral zone. He'll try and send it in. Can't do it. Bozo falls down, loses his stick. Chance here for Moscow. 5 seconds left. Pinned up against the boards. Thiessen, no penalty called. And that's going to do it. And we will head to our final period with Calgary up 4-2 on Moscow here in the gold medal game. And you got to say, Flip, Calgary, especially for them, an offensive explosion with 3 goals in that second period.
Yeah, Calgary, they turned up the heat. You know, they turned it up big time in that second period, taking advantage of some turnovers and some sloppy goaltending from the Moscow goalie.
Yeah, and as you said, at one end, Moscow with the power play chances really not shooting the puck enough. Calgary, they've shot it a bunch of times, not even on the power play, but when they have put pucks on net, it's seemingly done good things.
Yeah, whether they're quality shots or not right at this point, the pucks are going in. and having 4 goals for the in the first 30 minutes of this game is real big for Calgary.
And again, after going in to the first intermission down by 1, they explode for 3 goals to give themselves a 2-goal lead. I think if you're Coach Olsen on the bench right now, you got to be happy with your Calgary team.
He's real happy because now he can go into his bag of tricks or the tools that he has with his team, and that's to play solid defensive hockey. They know they're going to get outshot, and they got to limit those. Let the Moscow, if Moscow's happy passing the puck, let them pass the puck. Passes aren't going to hurt them. It's when they shoot the puck. Moscow's got to shoot the puck.
Calgary Fire 1 15-minute period away from the gold medal here in the gold medal game. They lead the Moscow PD 4-2 in the second intermission. Of course, so many events going on here at the World Police and Fire Games. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from the CrossFit competition.
CrossFit kind of punishes the specialist, but it favors the person that has an all-around general physical fitness. So the skills you need to do this are actually to be a little above average in a bit of everything. So if you don't want to specialize in endurance because maybe your strength then won't be as good, but if you're really, really strong and that's all you work on, your endurance probably isn't good. You need the gymnastics skill, the weightlifting technique, so you got to be a little bit good at everything.
Yeah, it's a lot of endurance. You have to have the strength, but mainly the endurance. You can look around and try to size some people up, but that doesn't really matter. I mean, this was a lightweight, so it really comes down to your endurance and your just work capacity, your heart to want to keep going.
It's kind of a mixture of functional fitness, so it's good endurance, good cardio, but at the same time being able to move weight with that. That's what makes it such a great sport to cross-train firefighters and police officers, because we're not just doing running or just doing weightlifting, we're always doing cardio with some weight involved. You know, whether it's the uniforms that we're wearing or the fire hose that we're carrying. Police and firefighting are kind of an extreme job category. You have to have that heart and that desire to be in that category, and CrossFit's kind of the same way. It's kind of that extreme sport. It keeps us in really good functional shape for our jobs, but we're all kind of type A competitive, I think, in the end, and CrossFit lends to that.
You just don't think. You just sometimes you listen to the crowd and you just keep going. You just grab the bar, move your body, and keep going.
You're just trying to think, like, you know what I mean? If I'm not fighting for that extra rep, somebody else is, and every time you're not working hard and leaving everything you've got out there, somebody's passing you. So you want to walk away from it knowing that you had nothing left to give, because if you didn't give your best, then it wasn't that good for you.
That is where that firefighting and kind of police mentality kicks in of, you've got a job to do and it doesn't matter how tired you are, you just got to get up there and do it. And this is where your good training also comes in. So, my goal is you know that once you get started, the end is in sight, and that's it. And so that's what you just keep thinking. I've just got to push through, push as hard as I can, and get through this event, and that's the end.
If you are police or firefighter, military, you have to put yourself every day on a task. Like, you have to do things that you are afraid to do. You have to go and risk your life, and it requires some mental toughness, and CrossFit requires it too, because it's always hard. Even to the champion, it's hard because he's doing his best. He's amazing, but he is feeling pain and keep going. And we need to know how to deal with, to keep going even if you're feeling pain.
Okay, so as the official video partner of the 2015 World Police and Fire Games, our team at Synthesis Multimedia is at more than 50 events this week, shooting video, providing highlight packages, and live streaming. One of our locations for streaming is the Ashburn Ice House. We're streaming 15 hockey games from this venue this week. Division I ice hockey. We've got a team of about 8 here at any given moment. As you can see over my shoulder, we have our director who is currently preparing the broadcast. We'll have camera operators up on a high home camera, and then also someone down on the sidelines getting a secondary shot. Our director will be live weaving those shots together, as well as we'll have instant replay operators, graphics, and then also someone to monitor the stream. The stream is available worldwide and can be viewed at fairfax2015.com. We're pushing that out so that all the different countries who are participating in this event, the people back home, can view these streams live on the web. Our highlight packages are also dropping on YouTube, so people can view those within 2 hours of the final whistle of any of the games or events or competitions that we cover. We'll take all this media that's centrally located within our archives, and we'll have one of our editors create a video that will be shown on the final day of closing ceremonies at Wolf Trap in Vienna in Fairfax County.
Welcome back to the Ashburn Ice House and our gold medal game in Division I here at the Royal Police and Fire Games, as it's right now the Calgary Fire up on the Moscow Police 4-2. And the footage you're seeing taken a little bit earlier in the intermission as backup goaltender Mikhail Balaban was out going ahead and stretching out. And Flip Collins, I'm assuming this means he's probably coming in the game.
Yeah, he's definitely coming in the game. He got out here as soon as the Zamboni got off the ice. He went over to his net, did some stretching. And this is a message being sent to the Moscow police team. You got to start playing. We're going to pull the goalie. We're going to make a goalie change. It's your guys' fault, and not really always the goalie's fault. Trying to send that message so they come out with maybe a little more push here in the third period.
We'll see what he can do. Of course, we said a couple of the goals late in the period by Calgary. A little bit suspect, as you said, maybe play a little bit too deep in net. We'll see if Balaban can change the fortunes of this Moscow team. Let's go ahead and take a look at the highlights from the game. A lot of scoring so far. And again, we saw it early on as Moscow actually jumped out to the original lead. And again, it was a great shot here coming off by Spearin to find it in the back of the net.
Yeah, Todd Ford just couldn't quite pick up the puck behind the net in the point-blank range goal.
But a good response by Calgary, the captain Olsen getting it right back, and that sent us to a 1-1 tie. But then Moscow kind of flexed their muscles and got play going their way, finishing off this time with Vasilyev.
Yeah, that was a great shot, one that fooled Todd Ford, which we haven't seen much of.
But then the scoring strikes would start for Calgary. There it was Cabana sending one home, and then very quickly the other way, it would be Stroshine kind of charging at the net, or actually off the charge of the net by Margatak. Stroshine put it away in the empty net, and then the weird angle shot coming off the stick of Herpiger, and then he would be able to go ahead and put that one home.
You'll notice on this shot, if we keep rolling this, would be great. You'll see a little area over his shoulder that was open, and former NHLer just snipes him.
Herpiger able to put his team up by 2 goals. And again, you always say everyone says it's the toughest goal lead to keep is that 2-goal lead. But I think if you're Calgary in this sense and the veteran presence you have, I think maybe that goal was definitely important, maybe from the mental aspect to make Moscow think about a few things, correct?
Yeah, I went down between periods to see if I could get anything from Calgary, and there was a closed door in there, and they stayed in there a little longer, just reiterating the message, making sure everyone's part of that message, so that they can bring home the gold medal. You're taking a look there at the Calgary team.
Dan Olsen behind them. And again, things looking pretty good right now. Backup goaltender Evan McEwen there on the end, and he really has seen no action so far in this tournament. Again, you'd love to get him in there, but Todd Ford's playing so well, and really Calgary, I think if I remember correctly, only yesterday kind of a little bit with a 3-goal lead. Again, kind of blew it out late, but it's really been all the Todd Ford show so far, and it's been a good show to watch if you're a Calgary fan.
Yeah, Calgary is gonna play some stifling defense here. Again, they're not gonna pay attention to what the shot count is. They're looking to get pucks deep. Keeping the puck 200 feet away from their net is a good thing. It won't hurt.
Korotkov and Herpiger to take the draw at center ice as Moscow needs some goals and needs them rather quickly as they trail by 2 here as we are underway in the third period. To be sent along. Herpiger slap shot, they'll call the offsides, and Gatton went off his stick anyway. And you're seeing right now, I think, as they say, the big dogs are coming out to hunt. I don't think I've seen Herpiger this active all tournament long, and it looks like he's turning it on right now.
In both last 2 games, his second and third periods have always been better than his first period. Some of that is getting older. It takes a little time to get fired up.
Herpiger throws it through the 5-hole, and the goalie change doesn't matter as Calgary now up 5-2 on Moscow.
Wow, this the change in goal now could be very costly for Moscow. As a 5-hole just sniped it. You could see the 5-hole from where we were, our vantage point, and Calgary just converted.
You see a lot of time and space by Herpiger. Faked the first one, then he couldn't close the legs on the second.
So he fakes, he gets the goalie to commit, and the goalie's not down. The goalie shows the 5-hole, and then he gets a quick release off and scores a goal.
That'll go into the bench.
So that's what we were just talking about, the 2-goal lead. Now, because Calgary scores, it's 3, and it makes it. It's obvious that it's 3, but it makes Moscow now change their game plan big time. They've got to get up and down the ice. You got to get shots. You will see Moscow shoot the puck more.
Scholar and Cabana credited with the assist, and Rowett will throw one through. Balaban's going to make the save on that one, has to sprawl way out of the crease to lock it up. Yeah, you know, I was reading up on Herpinger, kind of adding, coming on the fire department and talking about how, you know, his career was winding down and how he had kind of thought about maybe becoming a firefighter after his career was done. And he's the type of guy you bring on a team like this if you want to win a world championship.
Well, I know when they apply for the jobs, they ask you what sport, you know, you fill out what sports you play, and I think if you're putting down you've got experience in the German league and in the NHL, they'll find a spot for you.
Most definitely. So now a 3-goal lead for Calgary here in the gold medal game against Moscow. He knocked loose. Played up by Anshikov. Can't get it. Now be played back into the Moscow end. Kept in the zone, into the guts of Balaban. And that will bring a face-off in the Moscow end.
Well, the Moscow team seems really dejected here. I'm surprised the coach didn't maybe call a timeout after that goal. It was so early in the period, maybe he doesn't want to burn it, but you've got to get this message to these boys that they got to start picking up their game.
Yeah, not seeing that buzzing around style we've seen from them throughout the tournament. Balaban's going to pad that one aside. Stroshine going to chase into the corner, be tied up by Poznikov. Kudashov plays it ahead. Anshikov. Chance here to Ford, and now the net going to go off its moorings, so that will stop play. Now a little bit of chatting back and forth. Lindsay and Poznikov having a discussion.
Yeah, that shot went by, and the speed of the player coming by, Ford just kind of fell back and popped the net off its moorings.
You see it here, and yeah, Ford just moving backwards and just barely came loose, but the referee caught it.
That's the right call.
He played through. Cabana will stick it along. Chased into the corner. Thrown back towards the net. No one home. Can will dump it back around the boards. Herpinger will get it. Has it in the corner, looking to make a play. Can't connect. It'll get out of the zone. Can will just dump it back in. Calgary will change it up. Holding this 3-goal lead with 12.5 minutes to play in regulation.
And we've seen this several times by Calgary. Once they get the lead, they're going to play this stifling defense that I've been talking about, where they just get pucks deep. They're keeping a third guy high like they are right now.
Thiessen content to send it back down. Pozo couldn't keep it in. Now Moscow have a chance. Gatton with some numbers. But Turlin sends it towards the net. Ford will pad that one aside. In behind the net. Chased into the corner. Back out. Gatton will try and keep it in the zone. Won't be able to do it now. A 2-on-1 chance here. Rowett. He'll dish it off. And good job on the defensive end by Baturlin to go ahead and get on the stick of Pozo, not give him anything.
Yeah, veteran move there by Baturlin on the back check and picking up the shooter.
Vasilyev off the pads of Ford and up into the netting for a face-off down in the Calgary end.
I'm kind of surprised Moscow's not generating, sending some guys out of the zone, trying to get the Calgary defensemen and get them off the blue line a little bit, especially when you're down 3 goals. I mean, you've got to start taking chances.
8 more shots for Moscow in this one, but again, down by 3 goals. Stroshine will play it ahead. Can't be controlled in the neutral zone. And both teams having shots at it, not be able to do anything with it. Cross ice pass, trying to hook up with Stroshine. Got a little bit loose on him, and Spearin will chip it forward. Zeman dumps it all the way in. Take a funny bounce and stop. Now played out of the zone. Gatton tried to save it before it got out. Zeman now with it. He gets bumped into. Anshikoff on the forecheck, trying to keep it in the Calgary zone. Can't do it. It'll be flipped ahead.
Calgary really doing the little things that we've talked about, paying attention to detail, executing, getting pucks. There's just another puck going deep.
Play it around. Cabana tries to swipe at it. Can't keep it in. Puck fought for. Now Calgary will drop back. Korotkov, heavy slap shot, wide of the net, hits the boards and up into the netting, and that'll keep the face-off down in the Calgary end.
Calgary's done this all tournament long. They lull the other team to sleep a little bit by this style of play, and then when they get a turnover or they get the opportunity, they're going for payday, and they're going to try to get a goal.
Chance here as Moscow got to find a way to get on the board as we get closer to the 10-minute mark, almost a third of the way gone here in the third period as they trail by 3 goals. Anshikoff's shot went wide. Vasilyev will go back to get it. Looking again for Anshikoff, and right now for just nothing going offensively for Moscow.
That's because that's the way Calgary's playing. It's not nothing. Moscow has made 0 adjustments to this type of defense, and they've seen it before.
Anshikoff dishes to Chumakov. Chumakov stops on a dime, throws it back in front. Good idea. No one home, though. And we will have a stoppage.
You know, you'd like to believe that with 9 minutes to go, a little over 9 minutes to go in the game, Calgary wants the clock to run fast. Well, they do, but they're also willing to take any whistles that they can get. You know, no one ever scores after a whistle.
Way back through. Schultz tries to get out of the zone. Now chance here from Moscow, thrown on net, bounces off a body in front. Heavy contact into the boards. Centering pass goes awry. It'll be kept in the zone. Gatton will flip it along.
We call this board work or board play, and Calgary, that's a strength of Calgary is working the a body along the boards.
Chance here and a goal. So Moscow getting back into it as they find the back of the net. I believe this will be credited to Korotkov.
He was left alone in front and just redirected it.
Korotkov with the KHL experience, and he's able to get his team just a step closer, and you wonder if that's going to be the spark to get Moscow back in it.
So he stepped up from the point, and the winger let him get inside of him. A little breakdown there in communication maybe, and goes in alone and makes the goal.
Moscow goal, scorer number 91, Dmitry Korotkov. And the second goal is 6-1 at the third period. That's Korotkov unassisted.
So we'll see if Calgary able to respond and get their 3-goal lead back, or if Moscow can turn up the heat. Still 9 minutes to go, so plenty of time for the Russians to get back in this game.
Going into this period, I was thinking that Moscow needed to get 40 to 45 shots if they want to win this game. So, we don't talk about how important the shots are for Calgary. They are extremely important for the Moscow team.
And here's the goal there, and they're going to say just goes off of Ford. Thought maybe for a second that Gorloff got a piece of it and took it in, but instead they're going to say goes off Ford off the shot from Korotkov. Pass down, dipped ahead. Spearin gives chase. Endicott into the boards. Almost a turnover there. Instead, he'll flip it out. He'll just kind of dance down in front of the goalkeeper, Balaban. Remember, folks, Pasechnik, the starting goalie, pulled after the second period Balabin came in, actually gave up a goal on the first shot he saw of the third period. It's been pretty good since. Shot wide of the net. And Chikoff across the blue line. This is back for Baturlin. Baturlin trying to find Gorloff. That one will go over the glass and into the netting. Face off down at the Calgary end.
You know, as the home team, Calgary gets to make the last line change, having the being higher ranked team in the tournament. So you'll see the Calgary team try to match some lines from time to time.
Interestingly, Calgary, I believe, has worn red the entire tournament. So you see the two teams come with the two different jerseys. Calgary, if they did bring two, didn't have to go ahead and wear them. Icing here, that'll bring it back down to the Calgary end. I guess one question for you, Flip. You see any fatigue so far from Calgary? Obviously, maybe a bit older team, maybe not as in good shape.
They came out with some push there in the third period, but no, they're just settling into their game, their style of play, and they look pretty comfortable.
Face off won by Baturlin. Evseev tried for the shot, couldn't get it loose. Then into the corner, Evseev gives chase. Harassed by the Calgary defenders.
Yeah, getting back to your question, if they have fatigue, they're not allowed to show it. I mean, that was definitely a message that was, they're 15 minutes away from the World Championship.
Good job there by Gorloff, as again Herpiger was getting out in front, and Ford will go ahead and squeeze this one tight, and we'll have another face-off down in the Calgary end.
Yeah, Ford's not going to take any chances. If he's got a chance to cover the puck and make a save and get a whistle, he's going to do it.
33 shots on goal for Moscow, 25 for Calgary. Calgary with a 2-goal lead here in the gold medal game in Division I at the World Police and Fire Games. Played along. Lindsay gets it out. Slapped ahead. Pozo goes chasing after it. Not there. Race to the puck, and they'll say this will be icing, so that'll bring it back down to the Moscow end.
So Calgary, when they're winning those draws and they're ripping it around me, around the boards to the winger, in the first two periods they were sending the far winger across ice and out of the zone, kind of taking a chance. Now they're being far more conservative, and the goal is just to make sure we get it out of the zone and don't make a turnover.
Draw going to be won by Calgary. Rowett shot one down the net. Went quick. Didn't find the net that time, though, but smart move. That slap shot's going to go off the top of the glass, stays in play, and we'll have a whistle.
That shot would have been good in football.
That's right, a field goal.
Checking penalty.
Yeah, and Chikoff going to go into the box, 2 minutes. And here it comes, and a body check called. We've seen more than that. I think draw no whistle, so maybe Calgary getting a bit lucky on that call.
Looks like we're getting a timeout call here as well.
And a timeout for Moscow as they look to regroup. Just over 6 minutes to go as they'll go on the penalty kill and have to find a way to kill this off, or even best case scenario may find a way to score with Anchikov in the box. But if you're Moscow, this last 6 minutes, I'd assume you just got to turn it on because you don't have any other choice.
Yeah, they need to kill this. They need to kill this penalty kill. And Coach Olson over in the Calgary bench is just going through the fundamentals again of what they do under power play and who facilitates the power play. Make sure we're getting the pucks to the right guys.
Calgary with 6 new team members for the World Police and Fire Games, and of course one of those, Chris Herpiger. Again, Herpiger's experience pretty extensive, 9 years in Germany, played with 4 different NHL teams, and he has 2 goals today. And like I said earlier, you want the big dogs to come out and hunt when it's time, and he's doing it today.
Yeah, that big dog is hunting.
Coming up on the 6-minute mark. Chance here, Chumakov off the loose puck, sends it over, and it's going to be knocked aside by Ford. Well, Calgary is going to try and get it out of the zone. Looking for Cabana. It's going to end up going right to the net. And Balaban's going to have to play it. Up into the netting. Went off a stick, so no delay of game.
So instead of icing the puck there, Moscow actually tried to play a little breakout. They sent their 2 players because they're recognizing that, you know, hey, we got to change our style of play right now.
So still plenty of time left on this penalty. Anshikov stays in the box. Exactly 90 seconds and rolling now on that penalty. And Moscow, at the very least, has to go ahead and kill this one off. They're thinking goal, though. Peterlin lost control. Now he'll get it back. No real numbers. Still trying to get through the Calgary defense. Helped by Evseev.
Well, they're not going to have numbers unless the defenseman jumps up because they're man down.
Played around to Ferentz. Taking his time now. Long pass. Couldn't be controlled by Herpinger. Tried to go across ice with it. Had it blocked, so he'll go ahead and play it back to Ferentz. 50 seconds left on the penalty to Anshikov. Sent in deep, and Calgary changes it up. Olsen looking for the feed in front, couldn't connect.
Great look there, great look as a player driving the net on the back door side.
Endicott, cross ice pass. Look for the pass in front, and a good job there by Luke Chervov to go ahead and get in front. Actually, would have been Zeman. Keep that one from getting through. Olsen down the boards. Gets the pass off. Lindsay going to get pushed in the back from Gatton. And the penalty now killed off, so back to even strength, 5-on-5 with just over 4 minutes left. Another stoppage here, and now Moscow will go on the power play. Lindsay will come off.
Kirk Peterson with a call there. It looks like an unsportsmanlike call or something.
Well, Lindsay was the one who got ran into the boards. Maybe he was expecting a call, didn't get one. So this flip would seemingly be the time. If Moscow's going to get back into it, they better do it now with power play.
It's do or die right now. They need to score a goal. I think they might wish they had that timeout back and they could set something up here a little bit more and just reiterate some of the fundamentals that they practice on their power play.
Krotkov wins the draw, back to Gorlov. Cross, Vasilyev. That one will go wide of the net. Ferentz working hard, just trying to tie up the Moscow players, not let them get a chance to get shots off. Vasilyev back at the point. Sends it back over. Peterlin. Slap in front. Good job by Can, giving up the body. Pass across. Evseev score! Vladislav Evseev makes this a 1-goal game with just under 3.5 minutes to go.
Wow, wham bam, just like that. Makes this a 1-goal game. He went upper corner under the crossbar. Well, now we've got a real hockey game going now.
So Evseev with the score. Beats him stick side.
Stick side and elevates the puck just under the crossbar.
So at one point here in the third period, it was a 3-goal lead for Calgary. Now it's back down to 1.
And when you see a goalie look over to his left after he just gets beat on his right, it's because he didn't hear the puck clank or he didn't hear it off the glass. So he's thinking, uh-oh, it might be in the net.
And now maybe a chance here for Moscow tied up. Centering pass in front. Can't connect. Calgary will dump it down.
That goal wakes up the Russian contingent here in the stands.
And remember, if we get a regulation tie. We'll go to a 15-minute sudden death overtime period, followed by a shootout. Anshikov flying up the ice, looking to create. Anshikov, that's going to go off the netting as one of the defensemen fell into it.
Moscow's picking up the pace of play here. Now you see that speed, and speed really kills in the game of hockey.
Check out this replay again. You see the size and speed of Anshikov, and just going full into the net, I believe that was Senkow.
Yeah, Senkow caught an edge in his skate, and he just couldn't recover, and he went into the net.
Interesting here, kind of almost like you see in basketball, you'll steal a timeout. Half the Russian team went over on the line for the faceoff.
Yeah, the last line change is by the home team, so they told they can't have a player out there.
They'll swap them back. Just under 3 minutes to go, 2:49 to be exact. Moscow chasing the game-tying goal. Calgary trying to keep it out and get the gold medal here at the World Police and Fire Games in Division I ice hockey.
Easy breakout by Calgary.
Rowett will just easily send it along. Though Olsen now, he'll get down there and play it. Right in the corner. Calgary content just to leave it there. They can't get it. Korotkov. Long pass. Gorlov. Trying to get some space. Gorlov sends it goalward again. A Calgary player into the net. And that will give us a stoppage. And now a little bit of pushing and shoving out in front of the goaltender.
Yeah, everyone's coming back for Calgary, and we've seen a couple of times now they're just sliding into the net.
And you know, Flip, unlike sometimes where we've seen some guys kind of with an easy push, these Calgary players are earning it. That can't feel good right there.
No, it doesn't feel good. And all 5 Calgary players are down in there protecting the house.
Pazzo going right in the net, kind of catching it right in the upper back. And we saw earlier when Senkow did it, he kind of almost went head first into the bars of the net.
Some in international tournaments, you see this sometimes where the foreign teams are trying to use like a language barrier that they can't make a line change. Hockey's hockey. The rules are the rules. You have to make the first change, not the last change.
Towards the net, and Balaban used his stick to cover that one up. So around the 2-minute mark, again, an exciting matchup these fans have been treated to here at the Ashburn Ice House, as it is a 1-goal game with the gold medal on the line.
This is a part of the game where face-offs become extremely important.
You see there just covering it up. Perpinger been so good on face-offs throughout this tournament. That one's going to go up into the netting, and they'll keep it right there.
Now you'll see this. He's just trying to drive the puck to the boards and get it back to Ferentz. Just trying to use some quick hands.
It's over. Gatton will flick it around. Anshikov will take it in. Throws it off for a big rebound, but it gets wide of the net. Out one in front. Again, Russian skaters coming towards the net.
Empty
Again,
net.
A chance. That one won't go in.
Moscow's pulled the goalie.
So we're still with 90 seconds left, an empty net. Skevich keeps it in. Over in the corner. Pass back. Skevich moves it over. That one almost fanned on a little bit. It will scooch down. It will end up being an icing here. So we'll bring the faceoff back down to the Calgary end.
Look for Coach Olsen to call a timeout. His horses were out there for a long shift.
It's got a buzzer. I think it will be a timeout All right, let's go ahead and break this one down, Flip. Let's put you on the Calgary bench first. What are you saying to your team?
He's going to execute. He's trying to win the draw. He's going to get back to the breakout where they're going to win the draw, and he's probably going to send his offside winger down into the corner so he can make a tape-to-tape type of pass or a pass where he's not going to be under pressure. Since they're going to have 6 players, it's going to be timing and quickness is going to be very important after you win the draw. And then he's also going to give them a quick. If you lose the draw, and then we're in our defensive zone, we've got to pay attention to that back door. They're probably going to have 2 players down on the back door now. They're going to have a high man and a low man, which gives them options on who to hit for a backdoor shot.
Coming down to the wire at the Ashburn Ice House, Calgary trying to hold on, leading 5-4, had a 3-goal lead at one point in the third period, but the Moscow Police have gamely fought back. Can't get it out of the zone. That's going to go off the roof.
It's going to come outside the zone to the neutral zone dot.
And you see all the Calgary players pointing immediately, knowing the rules, and they'll be able to change this one up.
There's 17 refs and they're all wearing red. So that forces Moscow to put the goalie back in the net. They're going to try a little stretch play of face-off. This is something I run with my teams. But they weren't able to win the face-off.
Will be taken out. And again, Balaban waiting to see the puck get a little bit farther down before he takes off for the bench. There he goes. Korotkov splits the defense. Dishes it off of Ford. Played behind the net. Olsen tries to whip it around. Again, 6 skaters on the ice for Moscow. Vasilyev throws one towards the net. Loose puck for a second. It'll be sent down by Calgary. They'll take the icing. As again, it just sat there on the ground and no one could get there for Moscow.
A little bad puck luck for Moscow. If that puck is just a little closer to that player, he could have just banged it home with an easy open net.
And Ford leaving a few open nets here later as we move on in this game. Under 30 seconds.
I'm not sure what Ford does for the Calgary Fire Department, but they're going to need to give him some time off.
Slap shot off the pad. Played into the corner, back around. Hanshikov gets it taken away. Try to get out of the zone, can't do it. No penalty, some contact down there in front of the penalty box.
It got out of the zone and a Russian player broke his stick.
FC with the centering pass in front. 6 seconds, shot, Ford lets it go. Chance there, and that will do it as the Calgary Fire win the gold medal. They beat Moscow 5-4 to take the Division I championship here at the World Police and Fire game.
Wow, save of the game with 2 seconds to go. Moscow player shoots the puck and Ford's able to make the save with his shoulder.
And you see the Maple Leaf flying proudly as we had a frenetic finish here at the Ashburn Ice House. Moscow desperately looking for that 3rd goal to complete the comeback and send it to OT. They can't do it as, again, the back end important, and we'll see it here. Ford, again, coming up large for Calgary.
Wow, what a opportunity for Moscow, and what a save by Todd Ford.
Right there off the shoulder, and then he swipes for it, ends up, I believe, hitting him either in maybe even the mask.
Yeah, I think the buzzer might have just sounded when that contact came right there, but
that will do it, and those are your champions in a very well-played game here between Calgary Fire and Moscow Police. And they're coming up, and now the Moscow team had kind of gone back to the back line, but they'll shake hands, and they've got nothing to be ashamed of as they played a great game. And as you said, Flip, it looked like for a second that they were almost resigning themselves. They weren't going to come back, and then they got the 1 goal, and then they turned it on and almost got it to overtime.
Yeah, those strange things what those goals will do. You know, people just take it for granted when you score a goal. You know, good things will start happening. But that motivated the team, and it gave them some spirit and some life that they could come back.
There you see Todd Ford at the back of the line, But he was in the front of the line for this team the whole tournament long, and again came up large late in this game to preserve the win for Calgary.
Yeah, our keys to the game, with the back end, and again, that's what one thing. They did get the goals that they needed to win the game by 1, but at the end of the day, it was the big save by Ford to win this championship for them.
Big time stuff for this Calgary team. They'll get the gold medal. The team for the Moscow Police will get the silver medal. And again, they will go ahead and salute their fine crowd here. Again, the Russian supporters, the best that we saw this week here at the Ashburn Ice House.
Yeah, big crowd, large Russian contingent here for all the games, and lots of Russian competitors coming from other venues here today to Ashburn to support their fellow countrymen.
You see Michael Garcia out there going to go ahead and hand out the medals to both sides. Well deserving for both.
Presenting the silver medals, please welcome captain of the Fairfax County hockey team, Ben Harrington.
I believe handing out the medals, one of the captains of the other teams.
Placing second and receiving the silver medal from Moscow, Russia.
Again, Moscow will get the silver medals here after falling here in the championship game. But again, just a wonderful performance, and you're hearing the great round of applause by all the people in attendance here.
There's nothing to be ashamed about. I found the Moscow PD. They played unbelievable. They played some great competition. I mean, they ran into a lot of good teams throughout the tournament and got to the finals.
Yeah, and again, I think at least if not, they don't have the overall tournament bragging rights. I'm sure that they've got to be happy that they were able to take down their countrymen from Tatarstan.
Yeah, that was the big rivalry game, and they were able to win that game. And it's fun to watch these teams. That they play a different style of hockey, a different type of player. And I know that the local residents here in the D.C. area that came out to watch, which there were a lot of them, were very impressed by this Moscow Police Department.
Yeah, it's always fun to watch the different styles. We saw them all here. We saw North American, we saw the Russian style, we saw the Swedes play as well. So again, fun to see them and the camaraderie, and these guys again be graciously accepting their silver medals after the loss today. But again, a lot to be proud of if you're on the Russian side of things with the way they played in this contest.
Most definitely.
So again, wrapping things up, handing out the medals to the Moscow Police Department. And then, of course, they'll go ahead and give out the medals to the Calgary Fire Department as they go ahead and complete their long journey, as they years were looking for the gold medal after a bronze and a silver in previous competitions. Now they will go ahead and get the gold.
Ladies and gentlemen, silver medalist, Moscow Police.
Hockey's is a funny game where one who doesn't watch it that often. These guys battle. They left everything on the ice. It's a very physical, intimidating game. And then now you see the respect that they show as the games are concluding.
So we'll now go ahead and Coach Olson shaking hands. And he'll actually go ahead and get a medal. A little bit different, I guess, at the World Police and Fire Games. One of the things I always thought was funny about the Olympics is the coaches actually don't get a medal. But here they do. So you see the players.
Might as well mention Evan McEwen didn't see any playing time, but he gets a medal.
Yep, he does. And again, he would have been there if Todd Ford hadn't been able to go ahead and do what he did all tournament long. But obviously, they were very happy that Ford was able to stay in net the entire time. And now Ford will go ahead and get his medal, and very deserving of that medal, as he definitely earned it the way he played in net this week.
Yeah, he's my tournament MVP as far as I'm concerned.
So you see Rowitt there get his medal, and again, this Calgary team, we saw some of the teams where it seemed like a lot of guys didn't get a lot of ice time. It seemed like this Calgary squad, everybody played a pretty equal amount on the ice.
Yeah, again, the when they're playing that style that I've been talking about on almost every telecast here, you've got to use players, but you got to use everybody. But when they have opportunity, when their skilled guys have that opportunity, they're going to make it count.
So again, of course, later on today, they'll have the semifinals for the Division II ice hockey tournament, which we will also bring you here on WPFG.TV. Of course, the Fire Department of New York will be playing against Laval, while in one semifinal, then the Calgary PD will be taking on Vancouver in a Western Canada matchup, so that should be interesting. Of course, the winners of that one will play in the gold medal game tomorrow. The losers of that one will play in the bronze medal game tomorrow. So, again, we'll be bringing you those right here on WPFG.TV, and should be two very good hockey games.
Yeah, the Division II, sometimes I wonder how they classified them. We know how they classified them, but I wonder how some of these teams are in Division II. They look just as good, if not better than the Division I team. So there's going to be some great action tomorrow.
Should be a very exciting games. And of course, if you're in the area, of course, a lot of people watching us worldwide on the internet, but if you're in the area, again, those games will be semifinals later on tonight and then finals tomorrow. So a good chance to catch some more good hockey over the next maybe 24 hours.
And what a great day for Calgary to win the gold medal on Canada Day.
Yep. Calgary Fire, your 2015 World Police and Fire Games Division I gold medal winners in the ice hockey competition.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it one more time for our gold medalists, Calgary Fire, and silver medalists, Moscow Police.
So that'll do it for our medal ceremony. Again, the Calgary Fire with a 5-4 win over the Moscow Police here in the finals, the Division I finals of the World Police and Fire Games Ice Hockey Tournament, in what was really just a fantastic week of hockey, Flip. Great week of hockey.
Yeah, it's a great week of hockey. This is the talent level was a lot higher than I thought it would be. I was very impressed. Obviously, when you have a lot of former pros in all the lineups, it just makes for a good 5-6 days of hockey.
Well, just a wonderful day of hockey, but it's not done. Again, we'll have semifinal action later tonight for Division II. That won't be on WPFG.TV, but the bronze medal game and the gold medal game will be on WPFG.TV tomorrow. I won't be here. Ben Gordon Goldstein will be sitting here alongside Flip, but again, should be a great day of hockey. Make sure you tune it in. Again, our final here as we check out our production team. Again, another great job by them today. For my partner, Flip Collins, I'm Jeremy Huber. The Calgary Fire take the gold medal. They beat the Moscow PD 5-4 here in the World Police and Fire Games Division I Championship. Good afternoon, everybody.